Hey guys, what's going on? This is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com, and today's video is about recovery methods. And I'm going to show you exactly which recovery methods I use and when I use them, because I think some of them are overused or they're not used at all. And I think that's a big issue, because what we should be doing with our training is focusing on how well we can recover from something. Some of these external means of recovery are in no shape, way, or form better than some of the other things like nutrition and sleep. I still think those two are probably your top level things, but the one that really trumps everything is stress. If you can reduce stress, you're going to recover better. And you have to remember one thing before we get to the video. Stress is also working out. It's metabolic stress, it's muscular stress, it's ligament, tendon, and passive tissue stress. So you can't keep adding more stress without thinking about recovery. So again, this is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com. Let's get to the video and we'll talk about the biggest things I use for recovery. Now, the first thing that I use for recovery is CenterMag from ATP Labs. Most people are deficient in magnesium, and it shows with sleeping. And so the problem is most people, when they lay down, they can't go to sleep. They're not sleeping deep enough. This can be massive signs of a magnesium deficiency that's easily fixed. And a lot of times we need to know how much magnesium we're taking. A lot of times what I do when people come into the gym and get bioprints and things that I learned from Charles Poliquin, I base the dosage not only what the machine tells me, but also what their lean mass number is. Somebody comes in at 100 pounds of lean mass, it's going to be a much different supplementation protocol than somebody that weighs 210 lean mass, right? And we're not talking body fat, we're talking just lean mass. So a lot of the big things that you need to calculate and figure out are based on lean mass numbers, not necessarily just body weight, especially protein. But what I want to get to today is the recovery methods that we need to use in order to get better. The next big thing, I think one of the big recovery methods that we need to use is hot-cold contrast showers. I'm a much bigger fan of hot-cold contrast showers than I am just cold tubs, which seems to get a lot of notoriety and a lot of publicity these days. But hot-cold contrast showers cause vasoconstriction and vasodilation. So you get the shower as cold as you can stand it, and then that shower as hot as you can stand it, and you want to run about 5 cycles of each. This has been proven to be a very good recovery tool that we use at the gym, and I first learned it from recovery methods from the old Russian texts. But 5 cycles of hot and 5 cycles of cold, trying to get your entire body played into that factor, is going to be a big way to recover quickly. The next big thing is dynamic mobility. Moving and just kind of getting your body pumped. And so what I'll do is I'll walk anywhere from 20 to 30, 40 minutes a couple times a week, usually after my harder training days. This flushes the system out, gets me to recover, and I'm not talking just walking and hanging out. I'm talking trying to get my heart rate around 125, which is scooting pretty good for me. But the big thing is dynamic mobility is a massive tool in order to make sure that you're not only getting more mobile, but you're getting more coordinated. So lunge, twist, reaches, alternate toe touches, things that you see pro athletes do, you guys should be doing whether you're a pro athlete or not even if you're a serious lifter. Maintaining balance and coordination is one of the crucial tools to not fall as you get older, but it's also a major recovery tool for both the central nervous system and the passive tissue. The next big thing is just stretching with a band. So we've talked about dynamic mobility. That's more movement style type, just getting the body in motion. And it's also increasing flexibility, which I think has a bit more athletic transfer. But if we use bands from Elite FTS and do stretching, that's a huge factor in order to just make sure you're working out soreness, your body's getting a little bit more lengthened. And a lot of that's not sustainable. But what I notice is that if I stretch right before I go to bed with my band, I go to sleep way easier and I wake up way more recovered than just going to bed stiff and sore from the training protocols. So even if you're not training hard, you still should be using the band to stretch. And it's probably going to reduce a lot of joint pain, especially as you get older. The next big thing is sled drags. And Louis introduced this to me in my early 20s, maybe my late teens. And we would do sled dragging on off days. Now, I'm not a huge fan of that now because a lot of people just can't recover from basic workouts. But if you keep the sled light enough and you keep it more restorative, it's a good way to go. But you can't linearly put more weight on. You need to make it light and just make it kind of chill. And so for me, I never use more than 90 pounds on the sled, and I'll drag it anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes on off days, and I notice that I heal up way quicker and my body seems to absorb the training better. But remember, I did not get introduced into sled dragging until I was squatting 700 pounds. So if you're squatting 135, do not go out and pull a 90-pound sled for 10 or 15 minutes because it's probably going to affect your training. You need to build a little bit of a base first. Once you get used to training 3 or 4 times a week, you can start adding in more GPP stuff. If you need more advice on those particular types of exercises, go to the website and download the mini workouts manual, and you can see a lot of the different things that I use to break world records. The last one I want to go over today is the sauna. And a lot of times I'll sit in the sauna from anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. In the summertime, once a week. In the wintertime, 2 to 3 times a week. But sweating out toxins and getting rid of extra inflammation and extra water weight is good for your cardiovascular system. Some studies show that it actually increases lifespan, but I think it's really good for muscular recovery as well. The only trick with sauna is you got to make sure you rehydrate and you want to use water. So a lot of times when we go to Lifetime Fitness and use their wet sauna, I'd see these young teenagers and they're sweating their asses off, and then they're drinking like fierce Gatorades, putting back a ton of sugar. You really want to try to clean everything out, and when you use a sauna, put back in water, especially if you're not training within the next 12 hours. So I don't like to use sauna very close to my training. So usually I'd squat and deadlift really heavy on Saturday, I would bench really heavy on Sunday, and then I would use the sauna on Sunday afternoon, and I had all Monday to recover before my next workout on Tuesday, and it seemed to work perfect for when I was hitting those big numbers. So again, the sauna is a huge factor, but you need to make sure that you're rehydrating, and in my opinion, just use water. So these are 100% most of the recovery tools that I use as a professional athlete, ones that I've seen used at the San Diego Padres, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the San Francisco 49ers, and all the other teams that I've done assessments for. These are the particular things that we see, and a lot of these don't cost you a lot of money. Now you can use massage, that works really well, but a lot of times that's pretty expensive. So I want to keep this video for you guys that might be on a budget. But what I want to get to you guys at is that plan your recovery just as well as you plan your training, and watch how much better you get, because now you're increasing the body's ability to restore itself on an external factor. So this is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com. Hopefully these exercises and these modalities help you guys in your training and just your overall wellness. Hey guys, this is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com, and today I want to tell you guys that the video is sponsored by ATP Labs. Now, ATP Labs has been my personal supplement company for the last 10 years. They've done really amazing job with not only my clients, but my fire departments, my military contracts, and myself personally. Now, about 2018, 2019, when I was starting to learn how to diet down, I had trouble with sugar cravings. And utilizing ATP Labs' glucose control helped me to curb those cravings and stay on my diet, coming down from 315 pounds down to 240. And I found that that would have been much more difficult to do without the ATP Labs glucose control. So go check that out at winningstrength.com or atplabs.com, and we'll hope to see you guys soon, and thanks for watching the video.